Brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Morning, everybody. Solar Queen's not doing a lot yet this morning, I'll tell you that, and nothing. She is static as you like.
Someone keeps turning her purse away from the window. It's like they don't want her to wave.
There you go, Queen.
Why would you not want to see the Queen's nice little wave?
Maybe they were just turning her so that she would be looking at whoever sat in the main chair, but she needs the sun to thrive.
Yeah, she needs to wave. Just standing there inanimate, that's nothing.
We had this problem with the plant. I don't understand why we're physically incapable as a group of keeping anything alive, be it a small potted plant or the Queen.
Well, in our defense, the Queen is very old.
Yeah, but the Queen seems to have done all right at keeping herself alive for this long. The moment she turns up at Cabin Radio, we're incapable. You think if ever there were proof that we might be the issue, it's the fact that she got to the mid-90s, no trouble, and the moment a solar replica turns up that's about 6 inches tall on the Cabin Radio windowsill.
Sorry, Queen, we'll do better.
We'll do better. Morning, everybody. It is your Monday morning. This is Mornings at the Cabin. Lekter and Ollie are here. Wheeler is away in Edmonton. Did he go to the Oilers game last night? Do you know?
Jesse?
Yeah. I know he had tickets for one of them.
He was planning on the Vegas game.
Yeah, well, that didn't turn out so well.
No.
Edmonton 6 defeats out of 7.
Good old Edmonton.
And in the remaining 30 seconds, we should, of course, nod to the real sports news of the weekend. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
That's not nice.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to express condolences on behalf of an entire territory that knows you are our Winnipeg Blue Bombers fan.
Yeah, without actually talking about it. Here's some condolences.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody knows enough. Grey Cup's coming up. Scott's not going to need to watch.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Now old Mr. Johnson had troubles of his own. He had a yellow cat who wouldn't leave his home. He tried and he tried to give the cat away. He gave it to a man going far, far away. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. Give me a meow. Go.
Meow. So this cat took a little bit longer than took a little bit longer than the next day. Mm-hmm. This cat took a whole 6 weeks and a bit to come back. A little bit of Fred Penner there, everybody. That just gets your Monday morning off to a great start. As does the fact that Molly the cat came back 6 weeks after the Rock Hill fire. What a touching weekend story.
You know, as nice as it is, and a little bit shameful at the same time, to get some Fred Penner on the Cabin Radio airwaves for what I think is the first time.
We have a couple of other Fred Penner tracks in the library.
Okay, we played some sandwiches in the past.
I think we played some sandwiches in the past. Yeah, we've got What a Day and sandwiches.
Yeah.
Now we have The Cat Came Back. We're slowly expanding our repertoire.
That's just thing. As nice as it is to get some Fred Penner on the air, I feel like that lead-in actually, in hindsight, kind of painted the wrong picture as to this cat was actually wanted back, as opposed to that cat. Fred Penners.
This cat is actually a cat that, we welcome this cat back into the...
That was liked.
Yeah, whereas that cat sounds like a bit of a douche, if we're honest.
It didn't even really have a name. Molly at least has a name.
Yeah, this is just some random cat that keeps insisting on overstaying its welcome. Yeah. Molly the cat, on the other hand, was lost by Susan Hunt in the Rock Hill fire. Susan didn't live at Rock Hill. She lived at Rock Ridge just across the way, but trying to evacuate because the flames were so hot that burning the siding of nearby buildings. And in the course of evacuating, slipped on a walkway, cage broke open, Molly the cat vacated and was assumed lost. Post a campaign, no sign of Molly, gave up searching after about a week because you would, frankly. I mean, a week goes by and you can't find your cat after something like that. Who knows? Yeah. And then, last Thursday, Susan got a text message from a stranger who said, "Hey, I think I've seen your cat." Turned up, couldn't see it again though. And then Friday, again called and said, "No, your cat's definitely here. We've got the cat cornered. We're feeding it cat food." And lo and behold, under a truck, and the photo of this is on our website, there is Molly the cat, who is somehow eyes aglow, as they all like cat photos where they all look like they have laser eyes. Somehow, Molly the cat has survived 6 weeks of October and November in Yellowknife, foxes, coyotes, the works, and it's just kicking around. I mean, that is a pretty incredible cat achievement.
That's a tough kitty.
That is a tough kitty. how on earth that cat managed to do it. Now, I asked Susan that. She thinks that the cat went and found pipes underneath apartments and stuff to keep warm.
Okay.
And was feeding on mice.
Yeah. Maybe the cat's just a good schmoozer, just turned up at people's houses, be like, it's a little cold. Can you just,
Well, I wondered
just
about
chill
that.
with you for the night?
I wondered about that and was told that it was more likely to be that the cat did not do that, because apparently the cat is
not a good schmoozer.
Cat is really, really thin and emaciated.
Oh,
so if somebody was looking after that cat, they were doing a pretty bad job.
Yeah,
because that cat was in some serious need of love and hugs at the time.
But she's back now.
She's back now. Little trip to the vets over the weekend. That was the plan.
Oh,
and Molly the cat has become one of those good news stories.
Yeah.
There's always something that turns up from a terrible event like that. There's always at least a little bit of a chink of light somewhere, and it's Molly the cat this time around.
Yeah,
who managed to figure it out and come all the way back home to Susan.
Yay, Molly!
Yay, Molly! And Susan hadn't heard of Cabin Radio when we phoned her. And, I got this interview late on a Friday evening, so that was a slightly awkward introduction. It's Ollie from Cabin Radio. From where? Cabin Radio. What? Cabin. We're a new radio station. Really?
And you want to talk about my cat?
Well, yeah, we do. That's the kind of thing Cabin Radio does. That's exactly the kind of story Cabin Radio is all about. Your cat came back, and you've got to believe that Cabin Radio is going to be one of the first on the scene.
Come on, Susan, we need some morning show material.
Have you not seen The Pet Project, Susan?
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
Mornings at the Cabin, everybody. Lekter and Ollie. Wheeler is away on important business down in Edmonton, watching the hockey team fail miserably.
Driving cars.
Someone else who watched the hockey team fail miserably yesterday evening was Jamie Koe, who had a seat at the Golden Knights game, having found his Sunday remarkably open.
Well, when you got time, you're in town. May as well catch an Oilers game.
Yeah, you not got too much to do with it. If plans change, Jamie Koe and his rink had been involved in the Red Deer Curling Classic, which is part of the World Curling Tour, and achieved a feat, quite a difficult feat. I believe it has happened relatively rarely in the annals of curling history that a team has been dispatched from a tournament by officials for being excessively drunk.
Yeah.
And that is...
I don't think it's too common.
That is the description used by the facilities manager, who, speaking to CBC Sports, said that the rink was extremely drunk and breaking equipment. Breaking brooms was one thing reported, which seems an odd...
It seems counterproductive.
Seems counterproductive, regardless of state of inebriation.
Yeah.
Breaking the equipment seems odd.
Might just be those new composite brooms, though, where, just like... They seem fine, and then one sweep, and they just snap like nothing. I don't know. Maybe. We got to go back to the old wooden brooms.
Okay. This is a tangent that I did not expect this to take. That we've now sailed.
I'm just exploring all possibilities here. Maybe they were just testing out brooms, and they were not up to code. And once again, Team Koe doing the rest of the teams a service.
Well,
and they just couldn't appreciate it.
And you know what? The funny thing is that is the second least plausible excuse that has been presented for this. All
right, go on.
The gold medal going to one member of the rink, not Jamie Koe. This is someone who I believe is from Red Deer, who was playing on the team that weekend, who tweeted afterwards that the team was simply, quote, funding the bar.
Well, what do you think keeps those curling clubs open?
Well, I acknowledge the proud tradition of curling and alcohol. I realize that is not to be dismissed.
Right.
However, to reach the point where so much alcohol is involved that you are kicked out of the tournament in curling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sports where you could, generally speaking, get away with some drinking. One, curling. Right?
Two,
slow pitch.
Slow pitch.
Here endeth the list.
Yeah, the minute... I'm sure it's happened before that someone's gotten kicked out of slow pitch for being excessively drunk, but that you would think the bar is somewhat raised for excessive.
The bar appeared to be perfectly accessible. across the weekend. I think we can conclude. This story is on our website. The team were kicked out of the tournament on Sunday in Red Deer. One of the team, 2014 Olympic champion, I think his name is Ryan Fry. I'm just trying to conjure that from the back of my mind. He has apologized at length. Nobody else from the team has really commented other than to suggest that one of them suggesting that they were funding the bar.
Yeah.
But fairly widespread criticism from people. To have reached the point where other teams were saying that they wouldn't play if this team were allowed to stay, and to reach the point where the facilities team puts up a sign that says not only are they barred from this year's tournament, but all future tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, all joking aside, it's obviously, regardless of the responses that may or may not have come out of the Koe rink so far, it's obviously embarrassing. I mean, you have to be embarrassed. Like there's no other way to really approach that. You kind of screwed up.
It's not a great look.
It's not. No,
for the
it's
Northwest
not a great
Territories.
Look.
Never mind for the team.
Well,
and that's the point that some people have made, because Jamie Koe is pretty well associated with the Northwest Territories.
Yep,
and
absolutely
is a brand ambassador. Frankly, he goes to major curling events. The Territory supports the heck out of him,
right?
Because he is our guy and has been for years.
Yeah,
at major curling events, he is associated in the minds of just about any curling fan in Canada with the Northwest Territories.
Right.
So yeah, it's not a great look.
Yeah.
For the Territory when something like this happens.
It's it could certainly be a wake-up call too, because I mean, like you say, again, all joking aside, but sports that are kind of synonymous with the sideline antics, not antics, that's the wrong word, but the post-game celebrations are, curling is pretty high up there. It's one of those games where it's as far as a recreational sport, just playing like adult rec curling, it's basically you go out, you have a good time, you have a few drinks after, and everyone enjoys their night. But when something like this happens, it's like, okay, you've clearly crossed a line here between having a good time and making other people at the event feel uncomfortable. And obviously, when it's not just Friday night rec club curling, it's the Red Deer Classic. Other people are seeing this, and like you say, it's just Jamie Koe he's an ambassador, like it or not, to the Northwest Territories. He is an ambassador and represents us on a large scale stage in sports, and you can't conduct yourself like that. That's
the top story on the CBC Sports website this morning, which I realize roughly 8 people read because the CBC no longer has rights to any sport that anybody cares to watch. But
I think they still got equestrian.
Which, and I dabble in a little equestrian now and then. You want to talk equestrian next? All right, now we're talking my language. No, it's all right. Don't you worry. We got a lot to say about equestrianism here at Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
If you're listening to us outside Yellowknife, but somewhere in the Northwest Territories this morning, check your lottery ticket, because you might want to fund a brand new FM radio station in Yellowknife.
Yet no one has yet to this point.
No, every time we have a millionaire, I always put that out there just in case anybody needed reminding. Just in case anybody it slipped anyone's mind that it might be a thing. But yeah, again, 3 in the space of, what is it, July till now, like 4 or 5 months.
That ought to get that economy back in shape.
Well, honestly, it's a bigger revenue generator than most things we got going on right now. 3 different $1 million wins from NWT bought tickets in the lottery in the last 4 or 5 months.
It almost makes you want to start buying a ticket regularly, doesn't it?
Or does it? Because now do you think, well...
your luck's dried up now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. After a run like that, they can't keep going.
Yeah.
Can it? I've always been a strong believer. There are a lot of people who I know have a low opinion of buying lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Like, it's... The phrase that I've heard some people say, and that really winds me up, is that it's a tax on people who don't understand the math of it. Because you're never going to win, but they take your money.
Right. Just like casinos are big tax factories.
I got 2 things to say to that. The first is, I like buying hope.
I'll spend money on hope any day.
Right? I would far rather take, the price of an extra sandwich or a beer or whatever and put it on a couple of lottery tickets.
Right.
I just allow myself to dream that at some point in the dim and distant future, I may run into a whole lot of money through means other than starting a radio station. Because I'll be honest with you, this feels like I'm playing the long game right now. Well,
and as it stands right now, running an independent radio station, that sandwich can seem like hope on its own.
Just even being able to afford the sandwich. So does that. And the second is, I find it's such a disappointing outlook on what lotteries do as institutions, because when you play the lottery up here, like, some of your money goes to good stuff.
Yeah, especially up here, yeah. I can't necessarily vouch for other provinces and territories. I don't really know how it works
but up here, the proceeds go to sports.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, to me, that's kind of a cool thing. So I can spend my money on a lottery ticket. I get, I know it's an astronomically slim chance, but evidently it's working for some people, because 3 people in a territory of 40-odd thousand are on their way to becoming millionaires.
Yeah.
But at the same time as that, a whole bunch of kids are getting funding that enables them to play sports through it. So I don't really understand. Yes, obviously, like all these things, do it in moderation.
Yes.
I feel like we've already discussed
Yeah.
That this morning as a concept.
Yeah. And the lottery, the Western Canada Lottery Corporation themselves are very, very good about being realistic about the potentially negative side of the lottery and, you know, gambling addiction, that sort of thing. They're very open about it. There's not, oh, hey, we better keep this quiet or people won't buy lottery tickets. No, they're fairly open and honest about it. And so, I mean, you can't fault them. They're doing everything to make sure that people, you know, again, the old, I don't know if this is still their slogan, but it used to be set a limit, stay within it.
Yep.
It nails the point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you're listening to this, we're not encouraging you to gamble irresponsibly, but we are saying that all your friends are winning $1 million every weekend.
We're really not encouraging you to do anything irresponsibly, generally.
No,
Cabin radio.
That's actually our motto. Not encouraging you
irresponsibly.
to do anything irresponsible.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast. Hey, it was early. What do you want from us?
Mornings at the Cabin. Now, Lekter is alongside me. This is Ollie with you. We have been discussing the news out of Red Deer regarding Jamie Koe's rink being kicked out of a tournament yesterday. It goes without saying that neither of us were there, and we've been operating on the reports that are published elsewhere. We are now glad to have the benefit of Mr. Koe himself, who joined us on the phone about 5-10 minutes ago to talk through a little bit from his point of view of what happened at that rink. If you want to read more about this, it's on our website, cabinradio.ca. Koe and the rink basically disqualified at the Red Deer Curling Classic for unacceptable behavior. The facilities manager at the time told the CBC yesterday that they were extremely drunk and that there'd been some property damage. So I asked Jamie a few minutes ago to give me his view of what happened.
We are a team, and that's what happened, right? And, the unfortunate part was just, one of our guys got a little out of control, and, we're paying the price as a team, but, that's the team we went with. So, I mean, that's just how it's all going down.
Can you explain a little more about how it happened on Sunday and what point it reached when things seemed to be out of control?
It was on our game on Saturday, and, one of our guys was a little loud and, being a little disrespectful, and, things got out of control, and the Steel made their decision, and we didn't fight it. We just said, okay, if that's how you feel, and we apologize. And we talked to the club yesterday. Each of us went and talked to them personally, and we're all good with them now. Just unfortunate the way it's being played out in the media right now.
Okay. Obviously, curling is a sport that traditionally has an association with alcohol, and I think it, more so than many sports in a lot of respects. Where do you think it's comfortable to draw a line in your sport between what's okay and what's not okay?
Yeah. There's definitely a line there of what's okay and what's not okay. It's a social sport, you're right. We're there. This is a team that just came together for the one Bonspiel. We're trying to have some fun and play some good curling. Obviously, something happened there in the one game, and we take responsibility for that, and we need to move on.
You mentioned that these were the actions of one individual, and you also just mentioned that you want to move on. To what extent do you feel as though this is going to affect your reputation?
Yeah, unfortunately it's my name on the team, right? And so I'm taking a lot of the heat, and that's just how it's going to be, because it's my name. So you know what, I'm pretty fearful that it's my reputation. But I think my good friends and people that know me as a human being know I'm a very very respectful person, and always control my actions. So I mean, the only way for me to get over it is just to continue being the person that I am, and I think the people that truly know me and my true curling fans will be by my side, because they really know what kind of person I am, and that's not me.
And just lastly, do you think this will change how you approach things like this and how you act in future, even as the skip of a team, in terms of how you approach this issue and what kind of a watch you keep on teammates, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We all got to learn from it, and we all got to learn from it and move on. This is something that's unfortunate, and it's really in the media right now. So we're all really reeling from it right now, and we just gotta learn from it and move on here.
Okay, thanks, Jamie.
All right, thanks, Ollie.
That is Jamie Koe, the skip of the rink thrown out of the tournament in Red Deer on Sunday, speaking to me a few moments ago here on Mornings at the Cabin. Listening to that, Scott Leckerman alongside me. What did you think?
I mean, taking full responsibility, really taking it as a professional, which I guess is all you can do at this point. An unfortunate, somewhat embarrassing incident happened, and good on Jamie for not making excuses about it. Just basically saying, here's what happened. Yes, we acknowledge that this is not acceptable, and now we've learned from it, and hopefully can move on.
Yeah, it's
not really much else you can do.
No, and to me, I think one of the unfortunate things is that in the past, Jamie and his team have sort of played up the alcohol side of curling kind of for comic effect.
Right.
Going to tournaments like the Briar, the bar at the Briar is usually referred to as the Briar Patch.
Right.
And it's become a thing, right? It's become you follow Jamie on social media, and the antics that take place to the side of the actual, the curling itself, become like a sideshow and a bit of fun and games.
Right.
But that makes it all the more stickier to get out of something like this and to explain something like this and contextualize it when it happens, because you establish a precedent in a way. So it's an awkward situation. We talked about this earlier. It's almost unique among sports.
Yeah.
In terms of the absolute acceptability of the social side of the sport.
Right.
In a way that track and field does not have anything like that kind of. Swimming doesn't have it. Soccer doesn't really. It's an accepted sort of part of the sport, and I mean that's kind of why I asked him the question in there. Where do you draw the line? What? How do you monitor that, especially as the skip of a team?
Well, for sure. And I mean, we talked about this earlier. That like you mentioned, curling is is casually associated with recreational drinking. It's as Jamie mentioned, it's a very social sport. If you've ever taken part in a curling bonspiel, which a lot of Canadians have, whether or not they curl regularly or they're just very casual participants, a lot of Canadians have taken part in a weekend bonspiel, and it's a party. It's not just a little tournament. It's a full on party. It's a celebrated part of the game. And there's not anything necessarily wrong with that, but obviously, and as Jamie acknowledged, this is not a bonspiel. This is a celebrated national tournament where people are paying good money to go and watch your team play, and that is obviously not acceptable behavior. It is, and I mean, it's something that, you mentioned that he plays it up a little bit on his social media. In Canadian media, beyond just personal social media, it's been played up too. Everyone remembers John Montgomery at the, was it the 2010 Olympics?
Yeah, with the beer.
Yes, when
immediately on celebrating with the gold medal. Yeah.
Chugged a pitcher of beer. It was everyone's favorite moment from that Olympics, other than, the hockey team gold medal wins, or hockey teams rather.
Yeah, but it was an iconic moment. It was a standout moment of the whole Olympics. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's that sort of thing where it's played up as a celebratory fun thing, but obviously, and once again, as Jamie mentioned, there is a line there, and it's important to know where it is.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca.